AggieCentral streaming today with special guest Hayes Fawcett. If you don't know this guy, I'm not sure if you follow recruiting, but yeah, thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me, man. It's a pleasure.
So I really just wanted to start off by kind of getting to know you a little bit. I've looked up as much as I possibly can, and you're from Louisiana to start off with, right?
Right, yes, sir. Small town, Kenner, Louisiana. It's about population of about 2,500. So,
And you played quarterback for them, right?
yeah, I played quarterback, played football, baseball, and basketball my entire life. I was able to start 4 years at the high school level, and I was recruited as a preferred walk-on to multiple colleges, but I decided, that it'd be a better idea for me to continue doing this rather than playing football and it taking up all my time.
Mm-hmm.
Just a long-term investment.
Yeah, I mean, you got a unique opportunity going on.
Yeah.
Are you currently at LSU?
No, actually, I'm at Northwestern State University. That was one of the schools that had recruited me to play quarterback, but like I said, I didn't decide to go there for that. I'm just a normal student, and I went there because I had a really good academic scholarship, and I was going to go to LSU and work for the recruiting staff. But one, the money, I had a full ride to the college I'm at now compared to having to pay a lot of money to LSU. And then two, I would have had to quit running my accounts and quit talking to recruits because that's against the NCAA rules. So,
Gotcha. But so is LSU like a big time school you pull for?
I mean, growing up, I went to a lot of their games, just because I'm a Louisiana kid, you grow up liking LSU. But I mean, now that I'm doing this, I kind of shied away from being a big fan of one team. I'm more of a neutral guy. I'm just an overall fan of college football. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, got to stay diverse, right?
Yeah.
Well, so were you ever on staff with them?
No, I wasn't.
No.
I never even went.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's got to be something that because you've been doing this for at least 3 or 4 years now, right?
I think more than that. I started doing it when I was in 6th or 7th grade, I believe.
Okay. And so how did you first get into it?
Well, I started off by I've always been a big fan of sports, and I saw pages on Instagram and Twitter posting these cool graphics, and I thought I could do it. So I really started off by doing it for kids at my local high school, and then I mean from there it just grew and eventually reached a national level. I mean, ever since that 2015 class, I've really got to make connections with a lot of those guys who are now in the league. So it's been a pretty cool opportunity to be a part of these players' journey and have such a big part in their commitment.
What would you say is the most valuable thing that you kind of offer to have, built these relationships?
Lately with the growth of my accounts and stuff like that, I can almost be viewed as a brand builder in a way because I post them, and with such a big audience, these players, their following grows tremendously. So being a brand builder for them is something I really value. And then two, I mean, just getting to know these players on a personal level and them knowing that they can trust me with telling me their big news that's coming up or stuff like that, that really means a lot to me and to them at the same time. So
yeah. And how old are you? You're probably, what are you, in your early 20s or so?
Yeah, I'm 20. I'm going to be a sophomore in college next year.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's great. I mean, I kind of know. I think you're familiar with Aggies Today.
Yeah.
And he's got, we've talked a lot, and he's got a lot of similar stuff. And I really admire that about y'all, that you really got that trust at the forefront. I don't know, something's been ingrained in me, I think, as well. And like, when somebody confides something in you, and it's important to not let it go. And I don't know, I think that's one thing that draws me to, I followed you from, whenever I started, at what point to know, and just to kind of hear the stories about, what's kind of goes on a little bit behind the scenes. I don't know that much, but just to, have those guys trust in you, and then, keep that and do that is, I think, really awesome.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. What would you say is kind of like maybe like your first break, maybe not like your big break or whatever, but your first break that kind of, really propelled you forward?
Well, probably whenever I was in the seventh grade, this guy by the name of Damon Sales, he's a writer, and back then he worked for Bleacher Report, and he noticed that I was kind of growing and doing a lot of stuff for different athletes, and he did a story on me on Bleacher Report, and that really got my name out there. And I guess players saw that, and a bunch of people read that and were able to kind of know that I'm the guy that does these edits and um, you know gets all this behind the scenes information that's very confidential, and how they can trust me with everything. So I mean, that's probably my first break, just getting that Bleacher Report article.
Yeah. And you definitely got a reputation, it seems like, for that, and high quality work. And I've seen the congratulations going on, but it looks like you're joining a new startup, right?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Hey, tell me some more about that.
So I'm gonna be a football recruiting social media expert for On3, and On3 is a new website coming out, and it's founded by the founder of Rivals and 247 Sports. His name's Shannon Terry.
Mhm.
So, I mean, we have some really big things ahead, and I couldn't be more excited to work for that company.
So is it a Rivals or a 247 affiliate, or did you say that it's a like a competition of them?
It's gonna be competition. It's made by the guy who made Rivals in 247. So it's gonna be something way different than both of them.
Okay. Well, I'm already a follower, I think, on each one of them I've seen. I've kind of checked out the website just a little bit. I see the countdown, so I think it's 40 something days away, and I'm really interested to see what that's going to look like.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's gonna be big time. I can't wait.
So, did they just reach out to you on Twitter, or it's partially, is Ivan Mazel connected with that?
Yeah, he is. He's working for On3 as well. But yeah, they had reached out to me over text message.
Mhm. Like, how does that pitch go? When somebody contacts you sort of like that for a job.
We just um he told me he liked my work and stuff like that, and how this job was, and we talked about it for a while, and then he offered me something, and we came to the agreement, and I had to make sure that I was still able to keep the confidentiality and the same content that I post, because that's without that, like, there's really nothing. Like, I lose a lot of value if I lose the players' trust and stuff like that. So I made 100% sure that none of that was going to be changed, and we made sure that things were going to work out on both ends, and they eventually did. So here we are.
Well, great, man. Congratulations. I hope that really works out for y'all. It's always nice to have something new out there, and kind of forward the business along.
Right, yes, sir.
It's kind of, actually, because one of the questions I've got with you definitely being like somebody that's just so ingrained in the situation with recruiting, and like with all the edits. I was talking on a previous episode of like how this whole edits and recruiting thing is been something kind of new. I mean, sure, it's been going on for at least 5 years, but whenever I was in school, say like 15 years ago, even closer to 20 now, this wasn't really a thing. And so it's really progressed since then. Um, can like, what is your projection for like the next 5 to 10 years? Where do you think this is going?
I honestly do not have a clue. Like, things are always changing, more innovations are being made. So I mean, we'll see what happens next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah. Do you know of any current innovations that are, that are kind of, building or emerging?
Not, no, sir, I don't.
One of the things I'd kind of wondered, because I've seen guys doing, like, video, and video is not like a necessarily a new thing, but kind of like a video with the twist that you put on them, almost a bit more of like an animation or something. I was wondering if that's going to be something that's going to be a new age, or like a 2 or 3 second, um, Vine type of GIF or something like that. Do you have players asking for those kinds of things?
Yeah, for the little video reveal where the logo pops up and they have music in the back and different things like that.
So you do more than just like a straight like photo or picture type.
Yeah, do some video work where the little logo reveal I was telling you about.
Well, that's really cool too. And are you also all doing that like on a device, a phone, or like maybe a tablet?
Yeah, I do all of my work on my phone. I recently got a new computer and got Photoshop and the whole Creative Cloud. And I'm
Mhm.
going to be trying in the coming months. I'm going to be putting in a lot of work and trying to figure out the ins and outs of that as well. So
Yeah. Do you think having that sort of full base will take your game even to the next level?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
without a doubt, 'cause there's so much more you can do on a computer than on a phone.
Yeah. I have, just to make a few thumbnails here and there. I use Adobe Spark, and I don't really know any difference between that and Photoshop. I haven't quite gotten myself into that or anything, but some of the things I've done are maybe like 10 or 12 layers deep. I can only imagine some of the stuff that you may be doing. Is that like is layers like one of the crucial element of everything that you do?
Yeah, I do a lot of my work has a lot of different layers, like putting the logos, the background, the players, the text,
Mhm.
different things like that.
Yeah, I've tried on the iPad a little bit. My laptop works a little bit better for some like more precise adjustments. Of course, this is just such low level stuff compared to anything that you're doing, but um, the the starter kit would be what? What would the starter kit be for Hayes Fawcett if for an up and comer?
Um, Definitely my phone. Um, hmm.
You
I don't know.
recommend
I
any
don't really know
particular
how.
kind of phone?
No, I just use the iPhone.
Yeah. And is there any particular apps that you tend to like migrate to, or there's an assortment that you have to use, or will one do the trick?
I like the app Superimpose. That works very well for me.
Okay. Um, Now, how much time does it typically take you from start to finish on one of those edits?
I've never really like timed it, but I'd say, I mean, depending on what it is, I would say depending on, I mean, like anywhere between 45 minutes and 2 hours, maybe.
Hmm.
So it
That's
just
one of
really
the
depends on what I'm doing.
Okay.
Okay.
That's one of the things that's kind of deterring me from really wanting to go much further than just using my Adobe Spark, right? It's because I work a 9 to 5 and I do this for fun, and it's great to talk to you and other people like that, right? But I don't know that I've specifically got 2 hours to, uh, you know, that I'm not getting paid for in particular, and not trying to build, something amazing to do on the side. So that's really respectable to put that much work into it for that. And I'm sure that all the recruits really value that effort you put into it.
Yes, sir, for sure.
So I did see, I did want to work in a little bit of A&M stuff. I'm an A&M graduate, but I mean, I saw on Saturday that Ish Harris committed. I believe you did his ed. Is that right?
Yes, sir, I did.
Well, can you take me through that process? Like, what's the initial contact kind of look like? And then, like, how does it progress from there?
Well, so he was originally planned to announce on July 1st. So with it being that with the dead period being lifted and stuff like that, I've been busy every single day. And he texted me. I forgot which day it was. It was the day he committed. I was like, "Hey man, I changed my mind. I'm gonna commit today. I'm gonna send you these pictures. Can you get an edit ready?" I was like, "Yeah, I got you." So I mean, when he sent that, I think I was at Walmart or something. So after I left Walmart, I came home and immediately worked on that, and then he committed. So
So whenever they do that sort of thing, do they have to like send you like, or do you kind of request like a certain number of photos or photos in general that you'd like to have to kind of work with as a base?
yeah, I just asked him for clear pictures to use, and with the visit pictures and going to the schools, that helps a lot.
Mhm. And so he contacts you day of, and then say within probably 2-3 hours or so, you're getting that out to him, and then he posts it, and then like you'll retweet it or something like that.
That's right. Yes, sir.
So man, has it been a crazy June or what?
Man, it's been wild, and honestly, July is probably going to be even crazier.
I was that was where I was going next too, because I mean, if they're visiting in June, uh, what is your July going to look like?
I have like all the scheduled announcements in my notes right now, and man, it's probably like 40 plus. Um, I wouldn't say 40, probably like around 25 to 30 right now that I have typed in of like guys announcing top schools and commitments.
Okay. So you've got guys at least say they've told you and they've scheduled out like, hey, I'm going to commit on the 1st or the 4th or the 10th or whatever. And so you have maybe 20 to 25 guys right now that have essentially committed in their own mind, but they just have not, say, gone public with that yet. Wait for a specific date and then to get the edit done by you.
Yeah, that's correct.
Wow. So that is going to be a busy July.
Extremely busy.
So, I mean, we've been trying to put this together for almost a week now, and I know, and I've been telling myself I can't be on the other side of the line here and on your phone to know exactly what's going on. But like right before this, I was watching, and I think I saw a guy commit to Wisconsin, and then there may have been even a top three that came on, and so just here in the now, I'm knowing like how many notifications have you gotten just while we've been on doing this?
Oh, let's see. I've gotten 10 notifications.
Are you
That
currently
10,
actually
10.
working on one while you're doing this as well?
Yeah, I'm working on one right now.
I figured you had to be, man. And so busy, but I can't imagine that's not just like a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, it's extremely fun. I have a big love for the game of football, and now that I'm not playing anymore, doing this kind of keeps me connected with it, and I really enjoy doing it.
Mhm. Do you, or how many other guys would you say are doing edits kind of at maybe the level that you're doing them?
I don't really pay attention much like that, so I couldn't really give you an answer.
Yeah, I thought maybe you might be. I mean, you're probably so busy or whatever. I was just curious because of the expertise that you may have. Like, have you recognized other people's work at all or anything like that?
Like just being on Instagram and stuff like that, I've noticed that there's been a lot of people that try to do it and stuff like that, and I've noticed that a lot of people try to implement the same style that I use, and
Mhm.
nothing against them, but it's kind of cool to see that the way I do things, people are trying to do it the same way. So it's
Right.
kind of cool to kind of be like a inspiration or something like that to other people trying to do the same thing as me.
Yeah, yeah, they're trying to emulate you, right? And I
Yeah.
mean, that's flattering, right? I mean, to have somebody about your work, it's top quality. Guys are seeing it, and it's kind of I think somewhat what's happening, and I mean we see this from universities, right? I mean, there's a lot of edits coming out from universities as well, and so it's kind of inspiring and just almost creating a bit of a new market of what's going on in college football. So,
Yes, sir.
do you
Exactly.
do many of the guys confide in you like what it is that or the reasons why they're committing places, or is that just sort of background noise because you're so busy?
I mean, whenever a lot of these guys I talk to, some of them will call me and we'll just have a long conversation about why they chose the school and just different things like that. So yeah, I mean, sometimes they tell me why they commit, but most of the time they'll just get straight to the point and tell me where they're going and when they need it by.
Yeah. Well, what would you say is like the top three things that recruits typically cite to you as reasons why they're committing to a certain school?
Uh, like it's a place where they know they can be developed and make it to the NFL. A family feel close to home. Um, a specific coach that they like. That's just a few of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, did they vow? I mean, do they? You didn't specifically say this, but maybe saying that they want to go to the NFL, they want to be developed, is part of it. But are they looking at championships and playoff berths that closely to decide where they commit?
I think that plays a little bit of a role in it, but in the end, winning's a big thing. But in the end, like I said, they want to be able to take care of their family and stuff like that. And they just want to go to the place that they think is best for them and their future.
Do many of them think that they can make it to the next level better by going to a place like, say, Alabama, who does put a lot of recruits and commits into the NFL, or some place that they can get onto the field early?
I mean, every player wants to get on the field early because they feel like they're the best, and that's the only way to think, if you're a big time recruit. So either way, I mean, I don't know how much that really goes into their decision, but because I've never really talked to a player about that yet, at least.
Yeah. Yeah, I've kind of been asking around, trying to kind of track and see, like, what do they list, as their top factors, and then what are like trump cards. And would you say it's fair to say, like, if they have a relationship with a specific coach, that can be a trump factor?
Yeah, but a lot of them understand that these coaches can leave at any time too. So it's a saying, don't commit to a coach, commit to a university.
Yeah,
because we all know this is a business at the end of the day.
true. And moving even more towards that as we speak, right?
Yep, with the NIL stuff.
Yeah. Did they talk about that much to you?
Not really. A little bit, but it's not like one of those things that we talk about every day.
Mm-hmm. And I guess it's so new that maybe it's not something that's fully on their radar just yet. Do they seem like they're excited about it though?
Yeah, everyone's definitely excited about it.
Have you ever had a recruit request an edit from you and you turn them down?
Not really.
So the reason why I was asking, I was just kind of curious, if there was anything that's like, okay, well, and I'm not saying they're asking for stuff that's like, vulgar or anything like that or whatever, but if it was just something that, like, at what point also do you get so overloaded with work that you can't quite keep up with it? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, that's why I really kind of push for these guys to let me know early, so it gives me time to work on what they want to post. So most of the time they let me know early and I'm able to get it out, but rarely they'll let me know at the last second and I'll be able to do it just because I have some time free in my day. But
yeah, I mean, because you got to live life too, right?
right, yes, sir.
I'm not trying to press for information or anything like that, right? These things have to stay confidential. That's a big thing or whatever. Do you have any, teasers that you can kind of let out? Do you have any, say, top 20, 30 guys committing in the next few days?
Not off the top of my head, no, I can't think of anything, but I know that Kelvin Banks announced that he'd be committing on July the 24th today. So that's some pretty notable news.
Mm-hmm. Did you follow the Harold Perkins situation that was kind of going on?
Yeah, he actually reached out to me and it was about a week ago and told me he was gonna commit to that Polynesian Bowl, and we were talking about it yesterday, and he was laughing about it and stuff like that. But then it ended up getting leaked, so he wasn't able to do how he wanted to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all fun and games. I'm glad these guys are at least, having fun with it. Maybe he's kind of getting people worked up a little bit, anything like that. I think it's still fun though, even if it's like, oh, I'm hoping to hear what his commitment is, and in the end, hoping it'll be my school too. But in the end, these guys having fun is entertaining as well.
Oh, yeah,
What
and man, and Texas A&M is having a really good start up to their recruiting with a lot of big targets left on the board. So it's going to be interesting to see who they end up getting and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm excited. I guess I had a general question about that in a sense of like, being so integral in the process with these things. Do you see, to me, it feels like the wind has shifted just a little bit. I mean, it's hard to say, right? I mean, when that sort of thing changes, it happens gradual, but do you find yourself doing and I guess I associate you with doing, bigger names, for these edits,
Yeah,
but it seems to me, at least over the last 2-3 years, that there's been a bit more of these coming through. Would you say that's true, or what is your take on that?
yeah, I would agree. Jimbo's doing an extremely good job recruiting uh, for A&M, and that's showing on the field. You'll have
The expansion, I guess, it's getting ready to take place. I don't know fully how I feel about that. What do you think? Do you think 12 teams is the right amount? 16, 4? What do you think?
as a football fan, I like the 12 team because that's more games I get to watch. So
Hmm.
because watching like March Madness and the College World Series is so fun. Just watching a big tournament like that. For college football, we've only had a 14 playoff, and it seems to be the same teams every time. It kind of gets, I wouldn't say boring to watch, but it'd be good to have something different.
Yeah, I can definitely get on that. I mean, I had an opinion about something that RJ Young said maybe a week or two ago. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him.
Yeah, I know him.
And I really like him. I tend to disagree with him on certain things from time to time, which is fine.
Yeah.
But from the entertainability aspect, I think if that's the criteria, I'm all for playoff expansion. I do think that would be kind of a lot more fun to see, one play 16, two play 15, and so on down the list. I mean, I guess there's probably a limit on like how many teams you can include, just because like, I mean, football, I mean, what basketball has 64 teams, right? Or maybe even 68 if you include that sort of play-in game or something. But football is obviously much more taxing on the body. And so to play one game and then play another 2 days later is not going to be possible. But
Right. Yeah.
so you like
Exactly.
16. I can get on board with
Uh,
that.
yeah, 12, 12. I think I like
Oh, I mean, you
12,
like
but
12.
yeah,
Okay.
but I don't really like. I didn't really look. I haven't looked that deep into it. Like the pros and cons of how much like teams would be most effective and most appropriate. But I mean, I'm all for having more than four teams.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, I definitely think there is some give and take, and that's definitely a longer conversation that I think requires a bunch of different perspectives so that we all get a good grasp on like what's gonna make it in, what's not. I mean, some of the more obvious ones are like, well, if there's 16 teams, like if you look at number 16 from last year, I think between 15 and 16, they might have had between definitely at least one or two losses, and maybe there was even one that had a third loss as a possibility from time to time. I don't know. Do
Yeah.
you think that would cheapen the regular season? I mean, that's the biggest argument I think against people that I hear saying don't expand. They're like, well, it'll cheapen the regular season. Do you feel like it would do that?
Uh, in a way, yeah, but I don't really know. Like I just really like the fact that there's a possibility of having more games for me to watch, and that's all I've really thought about. I haven't really considered much from the player and coach's point of view and different things like that.
Yeah, well, like you said, I mean, if it's entertainability, definitely. I think the 16 team or the 12 or 16 or whatever it may be, right, would be wildly entertaining. So I can get down with that. That would be an amazing time to like watch those games, comment on them, do those kinds of things like live stream or whatever. That's something I aspire to do one day or whatever. But to see that game, I mean, we already have all the New Year's Six games, so it wouldn't be a far stretch from implementing something like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you think there would be a whole lot of difference in like, just because we're going from 4 teams to say 12 teams, and there's going to be 8 more teams that are let in, like it's going to change, say who's winning the championship very much?
Maybe so. I don't know. It just because football is a different game than baseball and basketball. Like it feels like in basketball and baseball, like any team can win on a given day. Like it's because like sometimes the best team doesn't always win.
Mm-hmm.
But in football, it just always seems like the better team comes out in the end. But that's how do I explain it? That's just me like thinking off the top of my head.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's obviously right. If you've been watching the College World Series, that game last night, I mean, like Vanderbilt was just kind of having an otherworld night, it seemed like.
Yeah, started off hot.
Yeah, they came out just, I mean, I don't know how to describe it, right? But and then kind of like on a side, like I feel like I've seen A&M. I think we've had a good team, and we're just not playing maybe as good as we have, and this is just maybe for a given year. But I do look at those games though as ways to kind of gauge whether or not it'll cheapen the regular season. I mean, some of these guys like last night, Mississippi State wasn't, I wouldn't say they were devastated by the loss. I mean, you lose the first game and you kind of see the writing on the wall a little bit more than, but you got to win 2 in a row now, right? So
yeah,
exactly. But your back's up against the wall, but you're not out yet. So losing that first game maybe didn't matter as much.
Correct. Yeah, I think my brother had told me, I don't know if this is accurate, but he said the 5 last teams that won the College World Series lost the first game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so with that being said, too, now of course the same teams get to play, I guess, over again, right? I guess in a football playoff, it's a one and done kind of situation.
Yeah, it's not going to be a series,
but it just right. But if we do look at it as kind of the regular season part, I guess at the same time, it allows for a team to lose in the regular season and then still make the playoff, right? And that's like having that first loss, and then you can still come back and win that championship. So on the same lines, it would be interesting to see like how many teams win the championship in college football that it had a regular season loss.
Yeah, exactly.
And I know it doesn't happen very often right now, but just to see what the dynamic's going to be like, I think it's going to be interesting.
Very interesting.
They've got a fan in you, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, I like it.
What do you so okay, July finishes up. Will your August be just as busy? How would that look for you during fall camp?
There's no way that August is going to be as busy as June and July. So because the players are going to be returning back to school, getting ready for their junior and senior season, because I've been doing a lot for 2023 as well. Mm-hmm. So it seems like once they get back to school and they start playing with their high school team, that they're more focused on winning the state championship. Recruiting is kind of slows down at that time, but there's still going to be like occasional announcements, but nowhere near what it is right now.
This is always your busy season.
Right.
and even more so now than ever. But you'll take a dip in August, September, probably through November.
Uh, yeah, probably so. Like it gets busy again around December because the early signing day, in February because that's the national signing day. But I mean, there's never a month where there's not an announcement. Like kids make their choices at different times, so can't really, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that works out perfect. That way you get to watch football with pretty much uninterrupted.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I like to
You're right.
get up Saturday mornings, get my coffee, get game day on, and get going real quick.
Man, I'm just excited for these crowds to be back.
For sure, dude. I mean, it's been a rough year. I took my season tickets for A&M. I pushed them so that, and I was like, you know what? They're going to be 25% capacity. I'll just take them next year, and I'll watch all this next year, which kind of killed me, but it kind of worked out. Are there any games in particular you're going to try and attend in person?
Uh, I don't know. I haven't really thought about that. Um, but I'm really looking forward to like watching on TV that week one game with Georgia and Clemson. That's going to be
Mhm.
just a great way to start off the season.
Yeah, if I can, I've got one of my best friends is a Longhorn, and we want to try and make that Cotton Bowl to College Station trip uh, for the Red River Shootout, and then we have A&M has Bama that following evening for the CBS game of the week, I think, or something like that. But it's like Texas and OU at 11, and then we play at 7, so we can watch that game, make the 2.5 hour trip down from Dallas, and hopefully catch that game. But that's a long ways off, and that's a long day.
That'd be so fun to do.
But it'll be an awesome day, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
you might have to get Aggies today to join y'all.
yeah. I bet. Yeah, he's kind of in the area too. I think he's got grandparents with tickets or whatever. But yeah, I've got four. Maybe this all work out, whatever, and it'll happen. I've got a couple of guys that are going down. I have one extra ticket, and we'll see how it goes. But that's a huge game. That's going to sell out. And you mentioned getting the crowds back. Like that stadium is going to be packed for that game.
Makes that's what makes that's like a big factor. What makes college football so exciting? The atmospheres, man. Like you saw how in a way this year it felt kind of dead without the crowds, and it really was.
Mhm.
We take for granted how much that puts into a game, all the hype and stuff like that. So I'm glad we're getting
Right.
back.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was fun after we played Florida. We got that win, which was a huge win for us. But um, Dan Mullen afterwards was talking about he was ready to pack the swamp the following day because it was like we were only supposed to have 25,000 there. It felt like it was 50, which it was,
Yeah.
I guess, kind of good to hear. I'm glad that our fans can make it feel like that. I'm sure maybe there was spot on 25,000. Let's keep it that.
No, yeah.
That's do do you what are some of the biggest games or your favorite games that you have attended or have caught in person or something?
So the only games that I've ever like college football games I've ever really been to are LSU versus pretty much any team, honestly, because I haven't. The only college football game I've went to like major Power Five would be an LSU game, but I went to the 2019 game where they played Florida. That was the atmosphere of that game was just wild because at the time Florida was ranked pretty high as well, and that was like LSU's biggest game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it was just the atmosphere was just crazy. I've been to I went to games where OBJ and Jarvis Landry and them were playing, and Leonard Fournette, and then probably the craziest game I went to though was when LSU played Alabama and they lost in overtime or double overtime, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
That was a heartbreaker.
Yeah, those are tough, man. Fun, but tough. You have a favorite player all time?
Uh, hmm. Just growing up, an LSU fan, and like I said, I kind of shied away from that now. But I really like the way Joe Burrow played the game. He was just always so like the moment never got too big for him, and
Mhm.
he was just so consistent and seemed like he just did everything the right way. He was fun to watch.
Yeah, he was too, and that cigar pick afterwards was epic.
Oh yeah, that was tough.
And he's got a Joe Namath feel to him, and I like it.
Oh yeah, I just wish he would have went to a different NFL team because that Bengals line isn't helping him out too much.
Yeah, no, I wasn't incredibly I guess excited about when Johnny went to the Browns. I mean, that's just I guess it's kind of how it goes, but you just worry when that happens, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So, well, I think he's probably got another contract in him at this point. So hopefully works through that and grows from it and gets that second deal and then is off to running. Or he transforms them actually into what they've been thinking they could be for a number of years now.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yes, sir.
So, all right. I guess I'm gonna. Can we? Is it a given? You would take Alabama to at least win the West in the SEC.
Oh yeah, it's a
Okay. I
given.
mean, look, kind of we call it battered Aggie syndrome, but I'm not out of my mind. I'll take them for now. Who do you have at number two?
Um,
This is where the thinking comes in, right? We'll give
yeah.
Alabama theirs.
Uh, Wait, are you talking about like winning the East or like number two in the West?
Um, well, let's start with the East. Who do you got winning the East?
Hold on, let me pull this up real quick.
I mean, I guess because you're interested in that game, Georgia Clemson first week, right? I mean,
Yeah,
they have a lot of talent on that team.
yeah.
And I
But
know
for the
that
for the
Florida,
East,
say that again.
I think Georgia's going to win the East.
Do you?
Yeah, Florida lost their quarterback. And they got Emory Jones coming in. He's a very dynamic QB, but um, them losing, they lost how many first rounders? Two. I know they lost Tony and Kyle Pitts, and they lost their quarterback. And Georgia just returned so much talent, and they recruit extremely well as well. But yeah, I think Georgia wins the East. Florida will be second. Man, looking at it, I know you agree with me on this, but the West is just 100 times stronger than the East. I think it needs to be a little bit more balanced.
It's hard not to think that too. Whenever I was looking back at some things, because one of the arguments on the college football playoff aspect is definitely for expansion is like including some of the group of five teams. And without getting into the weeds too much, right? It's like, well, you know, if you're gonna include those group of five teams, then you're kind of looking at an aspect where some people think that they're just not as strong, right? And
Right.
like if you look at the Sun Belt Conference, the SEC has beat the Sun Belt Conference at like 80 at a rate of 85%, and like 50% of the losses come 50% of the losses to the Sun Belt Conference, right, come from like
Right.
Vanderbilt, Kentucky, and I want to say like Arkansas and maybe just a little bit of like South Carolina. And there's an occasional LSU or Alabama actually that have dropped one, but like the majority of those losses are from Vanderbilt and Kentucky. And then there's an Arkansas mix in there here and there, but Vanderbilt and Kentucky making up a lot of those. So it is hard not to, come to that conclusion, quite honestly.
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
you know, the the thing is too is if I'm Georgia, I think about this in a bit the same way I think about Alabama. The best thing about Alabama and their schedule is that Alabama doesn't have to play Alabama.
Exactly.
Well, so on the East side, if you're Georgia, you don't have to play the best team in the East at this point. So from there, they don't have to play in LSU. They don't have to play in Auburn. They don't have to play a potential up and comer in A&M. And I would argue Ole Miss is probably one of the biggest dark horses in the West, if not for Arkansas. But I think with Lane Kiffin, what do you think? Would you say Ole Miss is the biggest dark horse in the SEC?
Oh yeah, I agree on that 100%. Because man, like I know you watched the game last year when they played Bama. They gave them a game. If they had a little bit more defense, they might have came out of that game with a win. But man, that offense they have is just so explosive. And returning Matt Corral, they're gonna have a good year, I believe.
I was listening to I'm sure you know Josh Pate.
Yeah.
Pate State, like that guy. But he was talking about like sort of the perception of Ole Miss the other day, and I have to agree with him 100%. Like whenever I see Ole Miss on the slate, I'm a little bit more worried than I might be with some other teams like playing Auburn. It's not that I don't expect I expect to win that game or anything, but something it's about like Ole Miss they're dynamic. I think they could jump up and bite somebody.
Yeah, they're a very sneaky team.
I do have to say though, too, Arkansas, and maybe my sort of favorite, maybe give them the label up and comer. What do you think about them?
Yeah, I agree. I agree on that. They've been recruiting a little bit better too, so it's good to see a team like Arkansas doing better in that category.
Yeah, something I love about the SEC and the teams is that they're all situated in what I think are amazing states, and Arkansas I don't think gets quite enough credit for how awesome that state is. Have you ever visited?
Man, it's beautiful in Arkansas. I love it up there.
Yeah, and that's what I mean, right? I mean, each one of these states has something that's really cool about them, and that's a beautiful state.
For sure.
So, okay, do you have Florida number 2 in the East, though?
Yeah, I do.
You do? Okay. And then, all right, so we're giving about Bama their due. Then who do you have as number 2 in the West?
Let's see.
Because I think LSU is primed for a pretty big return, to be honest.
Yeah, I think they are too, but I think A&M will be number 2 in the West. Honestly,
You think it'll play out that way?
yeah.
What's
and then probably LSU 3, and then probably LSU 3.
So what gives you that thought about A&M for that second spot? Then I mean, I kind of had it maybe kind of nose and nose, but you feel comfortable with giving them the nod. What do you think is the good reason for that?
Man, that defense, and the line coming back. And I honestly think that you think Hayes King is going to be y'all starting quarterback, right?
That's where my lean is too. I came away from the spring game pretty pleased with both guys, but he had my nod.
Yeah, I think Haynes is going to be the quarterback, and he's going to be really good. In my opinion, I think he's going to be a lot better than Kellen Mond was, and Kellen Mond won some games for y'all. But man, Haynes King just has it. You know what I'm talking about? Like, he's good.
Yeah, he definitely presents. See, his running is a little bit different than Kellen's, right? Like Kellen was fast, I would say a little bit more straight line. Haynes gives me just a little bit more of a lateral agility feel to him.
Yes.
And then that accuracy, I think most people came away with thinking he was a little bit more accurate than Calzada during the spring game. Did you catch our spring game?
No, I didn't. I watched Alabama spring game though. It was on ESPN. It's kind of cool to they have like Kirk Herbstreit and they have him and I forgot who it was, but they have him and Nick Saban mic'd up and they'll just have conversations. It's cool to hear what they're talking about during the spring game and how he coaches and different things like that.
Yeah, that sounds hearing both of them, and Herb Street's a pretty big, or Aggies are typically a pretty big fan of him. He's got a pretty famous sound clip that gets pretty much embedded in almost any hype video that A&M does. I have to, for my own, I have to, concede that I did not put that in the one I recently made, but it couldn't be a completely perfect video. I'm sure it's far from. I'm just kidding, but he's got a great sound bite. So, you kind of took me away just a little bit when you started talking about our defense. It sounded like you're almost a little bit like enamored almost, with them. You sound like you think they got quite a bit of potential.
Oh yeah, the returning talent is just insane.
Now, do you follow them pretty close? Are you familiar with the players?
I know of some of them, but off the top of my head, I can't really name much, to be honest.
Yeah, no, it's hard to keep up with every single one of them,
Yeah.
right? The probably, I guess, the arguable top returner, maybe it's not, but is DeMarvin Leal. That guy, a lot of talent there. There's a guy, defensive tackle, Jaden Peavy, and he's coming back. I think he's returning for his 5th year, right? Kind of going to be stepping in for Bobby Brown. And then let's see, who else is there? I mean, there's quite a few guys. Leon O'Neal is one of my favorite guys. Have you seen him on Twitter? He is
he's crazy on Twitter. Yeah, I did some work for him when he was a recruit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, good guy.
Yeah, very entertaining too. He strikes me like he was a guy. He went into the portal, I think about 2 years now. Me and Aggies Today were talking about it not too long ago, but he went in and he thought about it, he sat on it, and then he came back. And ever since then, that guy has been committed just 100%. What do you think there's something for that when these guys are, going in the portal versus sticking?
Like, what do you mean by that?
Well, like, do you think it's more beneficial to go into the portal, or if it's more beneficial to stay in, or if it just depends on the situation that the guy is in?
Yeah, it really depends on the situation, because you never really know. I mean, you never really know what was going into their decision of transferring or staying. Like, different cases, like Mac Jones, he decided to stick out and learn under guys like Tua and Jalen. When he got his time, he was ready. But then there's other situations to where, maybe a kid feels like he's ready to play right away and he needs to play right away, etc. And maybe something with the coaching staff, or he's being treated unfairly, is going on. But like I said, it just really depends on what situation they're going through.
Yeah, it seems a little tentative on the portal, like, whether or not people think it's a good thing or bad thing, and it's still kind of early in news. So I think it'll probably work itself out. I think it overall is a good thing. I mean, there's always going to be that thing in the back of their head, right? I mean, if coaches can kind of leave it at will, then they can't exactly leave at will, right? But players ought to have a little bit of flexibility as well. You agree with that?
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, Leon decided to stick, and then once he did, he's been really vocal. I think he's a leader, and he really is composed too. He doesn't I don't think he gets out of hand, which is good to see. You worry when people are on Twitter and seem like they're flying off the cuff, like something's going to go down and it's going to not work out right, or they're going to get suspended or something. But I would call him trustworthy. And so there was an article on SDS a couple of days ago that actually labeled that our defense was going to be worse this coming year.
Really?
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that?
What's that?
What's your thoughts on that?
Well, actually, maybe put a caveat on it. I think they may have said the run defense was going to be worse, but maybe they actually said the overall defense was going to be better. I think I think our pass rush is going to be better. We've got a guy coming back in Clemens. We got a couple young guys that are going to be coming up and going to be on the edge. Leal is going to be there again, and that guy is established.
Yeah.
Our corners are going to be probably the best I think that they've been in maybe my like foreseeable lifetime, like in the last 15 years or so, which helps the pass rush, right?
Yeah.
And a couple of really, I mean, we have to place Buddy Johnson at linebacker, but there's a few guys that are really coming on, and I think are going to be able to make a splash. So I think they may have actually labeled our defense as better overall because the pass rush would get better, but the run defense was so good that they thought they could only take a step back, and it may not be much of a step back, but having been so good that it would, not be quite as good as it was before. So I think we're gonna have a few guys playing on the interior line that are really gonna make a difference. Like I think McKinley Jackson, and I think another guy, just a 3-star guy though, but I think he's gonna wreck the shop, is the Darius Jones. So one to look out for, I think. But if you're right about Haynes, I think the rest will take care of itself.
Oh yeah, I think Haynes is going to be really, really good.
Wow. Well, man, I think I'd be hard pressed to get much more time out of you. I know you're busy. It's been like probably an hour. So you want to leave like one more, like if you wanted to have that Spiller was a hot take. Do you have one last hot take you want to put out there for the upcoming season? Nothing like Bama's going to get beat or anything like that, right?
No, I don't have anything like that. That'd be extremely hot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I really have. I don't have another hot take.
They'll come to you, I'm sure, but hopefully we'll be able to talk again sometime and get into some more football related stuff. But it was really exciting to hear the ins and outs of all that you've been doing behind the scenes. And I think it makes the game better and more interesting. It's something that, we all, definitely helps us get through June, July, and August. So really appreciate what you do.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. If we can work it out and it's okay with you, I'll probably release this audio stuff in maybe like a day or so. It'll probably take me to process it. And then me and Aggies Today are usually doing something, every other week or so. And if possible, maybe we can all get on here and, do a hangout and just talk some college football.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, I look forward to whatever's coming up and whatever you're going to be releasing next. And I hope it's something Aggie related and good.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
All right, man. Well, you have a good one.
All right, you too.
All right.